pretty good solutions for a single ultra tank guy.
Yes. We've seen the Necro work very well against Tiny, and the same thing applies against the Alchemist, who does have HP regen against the Maledict, but if you just throw some quick burst damage on him, we may see very likely the Dagon Necro build. With a Maledict, that's going to completely blow him up.
Well, we'll see if the lanes can go good for IG, and if they can take a nice victory for game 1, maybe they can hold up against that damage. But we'll see. Game's going to start. This is a best of 3. The loser is going home, or at least has to watch the rest of TI from the stands, and that's not where they want to be.
Nope, not at all. Team Winstrike, the CIS qualifier winner, playing on the Radiant team. They're going to be going up against Invictus Gaming, runner-up in the Chinese qualifier, which had 2 slots coming into TI. Run-up to Team Serenity, who've had a very surprising performance in Group B, finishing ahead of many teams that you would not have expected, including Pan Gaming, who were eliminated. But here we go. Things unraveling. Down in the bottom lane, both teams sending numbers down here. 4 Winstrike heroes up against 3 IG ones. SRF going to be running. He levels up Arrow already. He needs to be careful because here comes Winstrike. Great cast from the trees. Going to bounce back to the Mirana. Unfortunately, he doesn't bounce on the Q. DK stun comes out, as does a pause. Okay. Sorry, Binds. Tuski's not used any spells yet.
This makes a lot of sense, actually. I was very surprised he hadn't cast anything yet. I thought for sure he would have thrown an Ice Shard by now, because he would have had a better kill if he threw that when the Venge was to the left. And now they've had to even level stun on Dragonite level 1 just to guarantee the Ice Shard. So we'll see the Ice Shard. He can possibly tango to the right, but it should be a Venge kill.
Oh. We'll find out in just a second here. Iceberg, he's the guy you want to give the kill to. No fear. Doesn't even need the shards. He's going to get the block, and Iceberg gets the last hit. First blood going the way of Winstrike. And top lane, whoa, Enchantress. Taking a lot of damage there. Got down fairly low from aggressive with the tree grab right clicks. Going for the heal level 1 means no attack speed slow coming out from Untouchable.
That's okay. The level 1 Untouchable is kind of crappy nowadays. It's only 20. Nature's Attendance just feels a lot better. And yes, he does more damage to aggressive here, especially because his armor is so low. I think that was a good trade.
Aggressive was trying to hide in the trees while he waited for tree grab to cool down, and didn't quite successfully juke the Enchantress, as we'll see some more right clicks being traded. Ench wants the body blocks, but Aggressive going to get at least 1 bounty rune here for the team. The other one on the other side here with the wave, that's going to be amped up a lot. Gets him down to about 70 health. Tangos and another Nature's Attendance available, but that's pretty much all of his mana gone. You only really have mana for 2.5-ish Nature's Attendance until you get some of that regen kicking in. So a third one will be available, at least once he gets to the lane.
Yeah, it was quite costly. Kind of a cool dual lane if you think about it, the Tiny plus Avenge. Just lower the armor to make the tree even better, even though normally it's not the best trading ability.
So mid lane going to be very rough for XXS, I can only imagine, particularly with the Necro getting a first blood. He's going to have that second Null Talisman coming out very early. You can see laning matchups here. Enchantress going to be getting some help from Tusk. No Fear rotates up there. Very scary dual lane for Tiny to deal with. And down bottom, Mirana, SRF isn't really getting too much help directly, but Baboka is doing some creep wave pulls to help him out indirectly.
Yep. Always want to fly trying to mess with this, but he's going to get Fissure Stun, and that's going to prevent the pull. Interruption. Yep. On the mid lane, 7 and 8 and 3 for XXS here.
That is a great start. Top lane, though, Venge trapped in the trees here as he's going to get surrounded. It's the power of the Tusk Enchantress, finding a kill up there. Just a support, but
this was Necro's first 4 last hits on this push through. He really did a great job. He glyphed the first range creep that got low. At the same time, Necro used his nuke, and as a result, just getting the follow-up last hit. Yep, that'll be the Tusk kill too. This wave tree is really good.
Yeah, the Venge Tiny, with the amped up damage and the tree grab being physical damage, we're seeing Winstrike kind of struggle against this, at least at early levels. That may change as we see more levels picked up on the Enchantress, and the Untouchable just prevent some of that right click coming out, particularly that second point in it where it gets extra value. And Enchantress does have a lot of creeps under this tower now, but gotta say, it doesn't feel like a lane matchup that should be won this hard by Alchemist. It just feels like XXS is kind of outplaying Iceberg a bit here.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it felt like. A couple crucial denies, a couple crucial last hits, the Quelling. He's got the Aquila now, or at least the Wraithband. Iceberg is trying to play around and cover the rune if needed. Doesn't want to let XXS get a little closer there.
And he's taking a lot of damage here, though, as it's fairly low. Won't be going down there. He kind of knows his hero's limits and just wants to get as much damage on Alk as possible. But Alk has 2 salves. He's got 1 in lane. He's actually got 2 more back at base. He's just spamming these salves. He knows. Just got to kind of survive to your level 6 and spend regen to get you know, more money. You spend some money to make a bit more, and you'll be a happy camper.
Maybe doing this play because he saw the double null right off the bat for Neko. Fissure block for always want to fly. It's kind of scary. Yeah, it has to use a lot of tangos to get through.
SRF doesn't actually land the arrow with the tango pathway.
Yeah, wasn't expecting 2 to be used there.
Baboka wants to pull another wave, has the Windlace movement speed, so should be just fine here. Does outrun the Witch Doctor with relative ease. And we'll see if that means always when fly. Probably just going to go for some more pulls here. He got the double sentry down bottom just to make sure he had these pulls. Back at top, going to be another initiation. Nice snowball dodge coming in from No Fear. He may still be in a bit of trouble. Right click's not going to do enough damage though. Didn't want to throw the tree, as he'll do it to get the last hit on the range creeps. So, yeah. Back at bottom, always want to fly. Just pulling creeps here. The double sentry to guarantee this small camp was available. It's a bit of a gold investment, but it's worth it to secure your lane, particularly when you have an enemy full position who's pulling waves from behind the tower. You have to find some way to get that lane equilibrium back.
Yeah, this is one of the prices you have to pay for picking a hero like Witch Doctor, is that if you don't have Maledict level 1, you're not really going to do that great chasing somebody down, and he can't afford to do that anyway, so this just allows him to get something back from the lane when he does do these long pulls.
Yep. Well, mid lane, the Invis Tusk is kind of waiting to see what can come his way. Alk already has a bottle.
2 salves too.
Yeah. Is he going to chew through some of this regen? Sure looks like it. Alk 4-minute runes coming up. Ping's going out. He's hoping for it down bottom. As for Tusk, he's hoping for it up top. Where's it going to spawn? It's bottom lane for the Alchemist. Lady Luck favors him for now.
Very good friend. More mana. Necro's still having some HP problems mid. I can kind of see why he's playing it safe with the salves, though. I mean, it's not like Alk is going to harass him that much. His biggest weakness is now he can't go as aggressive, but he should be able to save some money this way.
Bottom, always want to fly. Oh, doesn't get the cast bounce. Oh, it does actually in the end, as the fissure block will be there. SRF will get the double star storm, even through the arrow. Perhaps not needed for the melee arrow, but it was a great fissure from Baboka.
Making Witch Doctor not look very survivable here.
Back at mid, Alk getting harassed fairly low, but Necro body blocked by the illusions, which he'll take some last hits on.
I feel like the Enchantress hasn't really gotten as much as I expected her to. She's doing fine, 17 and 6, but if you're playing a hero like Tiny, that's going to become much stronger later. I'd prefer a different hero.
Fissure arrow combo, trying to secure these bounty runes. Q getting one up top, No Fear. Always want to fly, so we're going to get both down bottom. The Witch Doctor, nicely played. Securing these bounty runes, getting 3 in total for his team.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Was it a failed fissure block from Baboka maybe or something like that?
Didn't see exactly what happened. He fissured the DK, but maybe just mistimed on the Witch Doctor.
Okay. He also doesn't have Aftershock, so maybe he was expecting it to stun where it normally would, and something like that. Wave is pushing though. Catapults are coming, so we'll see if Winstrike turns this into a push. Although
yeah, Ench has that value point in the enchant. Didn't steal the siege creep though. Oh, it's here now. Oh, okay, yeah, he will steal it. Okay, there we go. Double siege creep under the tower. Glyph is still available if they want to try and keep them alive.
That's pretty hard.
Not sure. It doesn't look like they want to go for the glyph on that first siege creep. So we're not going to see that kind of 5-minute Enchantress push that is often the case. Back down bottom, always want to fly. And a bit of trouble here from the Shaker. Has a shrine if he wants to use it, but may want to save it for his DK or his Necro.
It's the regen bot lane 2, or bot rune.
Baboka. He's going to get denied, I believe, from the high ground here. Always want to fly. Should be able to get it. Picks it up. He saw it coming.
That was good usage, at least. He gets 200 mana out of it. Yeah. It's not all bad. I mean, Alk's going to be a little sad, but really getting out of the lane is fine.
He's okay if he needs to use his shrine. He will. He's got mana. Not the end of the world for Little Alchemist. Right now he's a little guy, but plenty of farm coming his way soon once he starts getting these jungle stacks going.
Iceberg's doing really well now, holding out more net worth than IG.
Fissure Arrow not going to connect down bottom lane, and DK going to turn around with his ultimate, get the Dragon Tail out onto Baboka, who's looking for a totem, but there is no way out for the Shaker, who gets last hit by Dragonite.
That was pretty good. I didn't even think he was going to do that much damage there, but the power treads at this point making a nice difference.
3 points in the Breathe Fire, plenty of damage coming out. Even the Corrosive does pretty good damage at this point. Snowball away up top. No Fear in some trouble. He held the stun on Q this time around, so no dodging it. As the Fissure actually going to get the last hit. Baboka's respawn comes top lane. Maybe not the most value of TPs. If they could get that kill without him, he might have some regrets about actually being in this top lane.
I'm just not sure he does that much in his off lane either, though. Silent will get some tower hits in, but at most, how's he going to stop Dragonite? He can Fissure him once, but That won't do that much. He can't gank mid either because Alchemist is jungling. That was literally his only play.
He may just take over mid lane while Alk goes into the jungle. I like this from Always Wanna Fly, getting down those deep wards. One behind the tier 1 mid, one in the Alk's jungle at the tri-camp. Doesn't actually block the camp, which is often the play against Alk, but the issue is when you block the camp, they know there's a ward there and it gets de-warded. So he's perhaps hoping that they can set up a gank off of his observer ward.
Yeah, I kind of like that. Aggressive and a little bit of trouble here. Into the trees. They do have Snowball, so can interrupt a TP if they find him. Yep, there it is.
He tried to juke him so he could TP out in Fog, but now he pays the price. He dies, and he will not have TP when he respawns, so even worse outcome for him than just dying.
Well, at least Venge will get the lane for a bit. Maybe can pick up a level 6 from this. But no,
back at the bottom rune. Haste rune is there. SRF gets it. Unfortunately, for Always Wanna Fly, he banked on picking that one up. He's going to pay for it. Does reveal the fact Dire had a ward there because he kind of arrowed from the shrine area when theoretically he was in Fog. But all in all, small little kill on a support. It is Winstrike. You have a decent laning stage advantage thanks to some of their lane matchups. Necro over the Alchemist. Enchantress just always going to win her lane, so we do see about a 2k gold lead.
Yeah, everything's definitely gotten better in the last couple minutes here.
Yep. The question with Alk is always like, you know, when does he take over the top net worth? Because that feels to always inevitably happen around that like 15-minute mark.
Yeah, very commonly. But there's so many cores behind on IG's side. Like, the difference between Potom and the enemy carry, the difference between Tiny and the enemy carry is massive right now. It's like 1,000 gold. That's way too much too early, and that means that if Winstrike can turn that gold into some bounty rune fights, then Alk's just not going to accelerate as much.
That's something Winstrike's been very good about, making sure they try and secure these bounty runes. We saw 3 of them at the 5-minute mark, and very likely we'll see them contest these 10-minute bounty runes as well. DK does go down bottom there. Nice rotation from IG, taking 3 heroes to the bottom lane to make sure they get that. All of this while, Alchemist farming his stacks. He did a nice little double stack at the tri-camp, stacked both camps, farm one, and now he's farming the other, and should be getting a good chunk of gold out of this. And even though Winstrike see him, they're not contesting it. Ooh, deleted. Venge, see you later. They had the Fissure block, but SRF is second that Necro gets a kill. Doesn't want to mess with him because he's got so much regen. He gets the maxed out Death Pulse stacks. And Iceberg tanking tower shots just because he knows he can regen through this all.
Yeah, they did not expect him turning there and going for the fight. That was 3 heroes I thought he was going to run for his life, but instead, a great turn on the Venge and gets the kill. I really did like the Dragonite gank, though. It was very smart. He had used his ultimate not too long before that they ended up rotating and ganking in. Oh, are they going to get quadrants? No, just 3. Still amazing.
Yep.
But they ganked him there, preventing the tier 1 tower from taking more damage, which means less pressure on the map. That was good.
Boca is being scouted by this courier, and that means TPing out is going to be very tricky for him. Often you'd go into some trees here and TP, but guess what? You can't. Love the courier micro coming out, and Baboka, there's no escape for him. He's not even going to try TP out, uses his mana for a totem. Good heads-up play there.
Well, the Veil's up on Necro now, so any heroes they find are even more likely to die. But can Winstrike find Alk and get on top of him? He's 2,000 gold right now. Needs 3,800 for the Relic. And even if he does get Radiance, still very vulnerable to some of these amplifying skills they have.
Yep. Do you see him take over the top net worth position as per Alchemist tradition? Nothing much unexpected about this, but very much something that's necessity for our Alchemist team. Down bottom, Winstrike, find a Venge kill here. Not a big kill, but what could be important is taking this bottom tier 1 tower, because this makes contesting that Alchemist farm that little bit easier. The more towers you take, the more pressure you can put on the map, the harder it gets for Alk to farm. And they've taken 2 out of 3 outer towers already. The Dire Glyph's going to come out, but with the Siege Creep and the DK Dragon form here, this bottom lane, tier 1, is donezo.
Yeah, should work out. They're a little low, but heal's going to keep them up a bit, and Boboka will rotate, but too late for him, most likely. Doubt he can get a deny either.
No, he doesn't want to put himself near this Tusk or DK, I can only imagine. DK going for a very early game build. We talked about with Winstrike's picks, how they had all these heals. They want some big pushing hero last. Wasn't the Lycan or the Drow. DK's still pretty good. He's going treads, drums, hood queued up. He is kind of all in on trying to end this game fairly early.
Cool. He's tanking the creep wave too. Wants to keep his catapult alive. His next wave is here. If they can kill this enemy creep wave and then keep hitting buildings. I mean, this tier 2 is already at half HP. He does lose his ulti though.
Still,
not
even
gonna
so,
push as fast.
Even with just the Siege Creep, they don't have to take this tower just now anyways. Just getting some damage on it is going to be nice. Can always come back for that next DK ulti form. See Winstrike, 12 minutes in. Got to be pretty happy about the fact they've taken all these tier 1 towers. Back at mid, aggressive, needs to be careful. He's got a Blink Dagger queued up. And it's going to be instead non-grata on the Enchantress. Chain stun, not enough damage coming out as he'll survive this one and look to turn it around on SRF. Multiple TPs coming his way.
She leapt for 100 attack speed, and she still couldn't attack. Because there's an extra 7.
He may have to leap again. SRF into the trees will just, TP on out. They're going bottom lane. I think they saw aggressive getting kind of dove here. Oh, Necro, you're behind the tower. Is Iceberg going to be okay here? It looks like they TP in, but they're actually not going back towards the mid lane. DK's there as well, and with an Arcane Rune, this DK Necro are scaring off the entire IG team with just 2 heroes.
He gets a reduced cooldown for his ultimate too. That's 60 seconds uptime with a 20-second downtime. So even after this ends, he's going to have it up really fast again. This is such a good timing for this when they're on the map. I mean, they're not even ganking the Alk like we normally expect. They're actually just pushing towers and saying, we're not going to chase you. We don't care. We're just going to get so much map control from all your towers that immediately after that, you're not going to have any place to farm.
DK not normally a hero you'd associate with Arcane Runes, but in this fast pushing strat, it's probably one of the best runes he could find. It's going to take this tier 2 mid tower, and as you said, that downtime is going to be about 15-20 seconds or so, and he's already headed top with his ultimate still up for another 15 seconds.
It's a massive, and he was queuing up Hood before, but I like what he's doing now, changing up, going for Blink so that he can have catch. When you have all the towers dead, Hood is great if you're fighting enemy heroes, need to stay alive, but once all the towers are dead, it's all about catching the heroes that are still trying to split push, and Blink's going to give him that ability to do that at the expense of not being as tanky, but it's a good trade-off here.
I mean, we're seeing this Winstrike, all these towers down, a 4K gold lead, but are they really ahead right now? Like, in terms of the Alchemist being in the game, the comeback potential of this draft, and the fact they're going all in. They still have a level 4 Witch Doctor at 14 minutes because of how much their 5 main towers. Do you think IG are actually in a bad place right now?
I would say it all comes down to this big fight here. It looks like Winstrike's coming to defend, going to put some damage on aggressive. There's a swap too.
Out, yeah. They may just give up Q here. I think they can't afford to lose aggressive when he's this close to his Blink Dagger.
Those are some insane cask bounces, by the way. Like, hit him every single time. I think it's fine that Witch Doctor's 4. If he drops a Maledict on somebody, he's doing a job.
There was a Moonlight Shadow popped. Iceberg. They were looking for perhaps an Echo Slam into Arrow combo. They may still find something along those lines here. Could fissure, but he's pretty tanky. He's got 15 1 charges. If you don't burst him, you're in trouble. And
so Radiance is up on Elk. So that means he's going to accelerate surely. We've got Bounty Runes coming up in 18 seconds, but Winstrike is pretty well positioned with all these towers dead. Look at the positioning of IG. They're not even making a play for bounties. And it looks like they're going to get all 4. And that's why Winstrike is in a better position, especially if you take a look at the Necro. He's got a Relic himself.
Earthshaker was going for a bit of a neutral stack there into Bounty Rune play, but with the lack of map control, it wasn't really a play to be made for those Bounty Runes.
And Silent hitting buildings again. This time no Arcane Rune, so his ulti's about to go away forever, but at least for now. But I mean, they're so close to the Radiance of their own. 300 gold to go for Necrophos, and he's going to be able to take it to Alk, but do way more damage.
Well, buyback from Shaker. They want to defend down bottom. They're actually going to fight on the IG side. They've got Radiant, so it's a pretty decent time for this one. No Dragon Form available on Silent. He gets stunned up, trying to just drum himself out of there. Gets caught by the Fissure on the retreat. They get the kill. Shaker buying back for this one. His hopes and dreams of a blink kind of shattered, but I don't think they were expecting a blink on him anytime soon. They just want Aggressive's blink, and that buyback could help get him there.
Yeah, just a ward spotting him hiding in the trees there, so that's why they got the kill.
That buyback cost him only like 250 gold too, so
yeah, not terrible.
Don't think it really matters.
But I also don't think that's really the hero that is that big of a loss for Winstrike. If that's Necro dying before he finishes his Radiance, it's a little scary, but Dragon Knight's already got his blink, he's already got his drums, he's got his treads, he's ready to jump in and tank and fight. And now he can do that to back up the Necrophos, who's going to probably deal more AoE damage than the Alchemist is.
Alku's got 2.2k gold. He has a Manta queued up. I would almost maybe even think it's worth considering a Blink Dagger to be an initiator as well yourself, so that you're going to be forced to defend. But he buys the Yasha for now. Maybe something he could go back for.
I mean, you can Manta dodge the Dragon Knight range stun. That's pretty huge.
Yep.
If you get gone on, you get a Manta off, it might interrupt something like Iceberg casting his ultimate for long enough time that he gets away. Obviously, you can split push with it. It's kind of just mandatory, right? Like Blink would help him fight, but I just don't think he wants to fight right now.
We'll see top lane smoke coming the way of SRF. He leaps away before the smoke even pops. I think recognizing something was amiss. Maybe they smoked on that dire ward up top, but
and there's also almost no IG heroes out of their own base, so I think it's just that's the one hero that's going to get gone on. So
kind of knows they've seen the DK Blink Dagger as well. Aggressive. Whoa, he's got a blink. He doesn't use it in time. Does get the Avalanche off instead. Swapped away. Aggressive. Fissure was there. It's not going to hit the Snowballing Tusk. Here comes the Alchemist. They'll hit the Tusk with a unstable concoction and a toss, deleting him from the game as they go chasing, looking for more perhaps. This is where IG have kind of starting to come online. This Alk
Yeah.
Radiance is not being used to just farm. It's also being used to enter the fray. He's got Treads, Radiance, now a Yasha Aquila. 1600 health with Chemical Rage is definitely a hero that you can fight with.
He's scary, but I think that was just a big Winstrike overreach. I mean, Silent was trying to use the dregs of their smoke to take a fight, and he did find somebody, but he blinked very aggressively into a bunch of heroes. The Tusk tried to follow up, but put himself out of position. They need like the Necro follow-up immediately after the initiation.
Yeah, the kills that we've seen IG get have always been when Necro isn't in the area. The DK death and now that one there. But this time DK is there, finds the Venge. Not the ideal kill, but down lower. Baboka on the Shaker's been caught out in the trees as well, so they're going to lose 2 supports here. 57 seconds for the Venge with the Necro ulti, and Shaker with the dieback dead for 30 plus. Some pretty long respawns considering we're just 18 minutes in and they were supports.
The creep wave is way out of position on the safe lane, so they're going to have to go mid. That creep wave is also almost dead, so by the time they do get high ground, the Earthshaker should be alive. And they also don't have Dragonite ultimates. So I don't even think this is going to work. They're just going to have to go back and farm for now, which is fine. It's still gold advantage. And
it's maintaining it, you know, we're going to make sure that for the next 10, 15 minutes of the game, you don't get any bounty runes. We farm your jungle. We take Roshan. You're winning the game if you can just keep getting further and further ahead in Winstrike's shoes.
Bounty runes are almost everything here, honestly. If you're losing huge map control like this, as an Alchemist, that's probably your biggest problem. And in that way, it's cool to see how Winstrike is playing against this Alk this game. Not that they drafted against it purposefully, because it was the last pick, but the way they're playing is great. And they're trying to gear up for a little bit of bounty fight. It's got a whole minute to go.
XXS, yeah, let's say this is maybe a bit too early for IG to be doing this, but they don't care about bounties. They want these kills. They almost saved the Witch Doctor with the snowball, but not the case here. As back on the high ground here, Q is in all sorts of trouble. He's getting surrounded by Iceberg as well as Silent. Iceberg's ultimate hasn't cooled down just yet, so no Reaper, so to speak, but Babuka in the trees can't find a way to TP on out. XXS Alchemist does survive. That's the big hero to keep alive, as Winstrike will not get the hero kills they're perhaps looking for once again. Oh, these poor supports, Kevin. They just, you know, they can't have a good game.
Look at this net worth, man. There's like 3 ultra rare or ultra poor supports this game.
12 of the 13 deaths are the supports. SRF and XXS have not actually died this game. That is kind of crazy that all the deaths have been on them. And, you know, that's sometimes your life as a Venge when you're losing a game may just be suiciding to save a core hero, as we've seen Q do at least twice, maybe even 3 times this game.
So bounty rune's coming up, and an absolute 0. There's no way they can contest here. Maybe would have needed to smoke out, but
that is so important in a game like this against Alchemists, when the comeback could come at any time. IG is smoking up, but it's not to contest the bounty runes. They got to know that those have all been picked up. They're just trying to see what kills they can find. Tusk is not really the dream kill. Well, they take it anyways. You know, a kill's a kill and can buy you some time. The fissure is there into an arrow. No, they're not going to get him. The snowball's there into the creep wave here. Have they got detection? You've got to imagine they do with the Echo Slam. They managed to land it on 2. Non-Grata is going to go back here. No detection to spot out the IG heroes who are trying to finish off Non-Grata. Still, they just can't quite do it. In comes Iceberg. He's got the Reaper, but he gets caught by a max duration unstable concoction. He's dead. That's such a big kill. As the car's bouncing around, can they deal with XXS? The Maledict damage is going to be big. He Mantis tries to buy himself some time to get out of there. Hiding in the trees, throws a stun out. Doesn't look like Maledict will finish him off. Nice arrow to follow up the unstable concoction. He's going to get that on the DK, and DK's dead as well. IG don't lose a single hero and take out 4. What a fight for them.
It was just a big mistake from Winstrike. Normally when your team gets initiated on and your whole team, the rest of them aren't there, you just let those guys die and you just kind of say, okay, well, that's 2 deaths. But instead they engaged thinking they could win some fight back, get some hero kills, and it just went the completely opposite way. I mean, Necro was walking in to try to do something, but he got stunned by Venge under Acid Spray, and then there was a stun follow-up, and then there was an arrow, and all of a sudden he just dies easily.
Yeah. Gotta say, it's a little bit of an unconventional Necro build too. The Radiance, you see that every now and then, particularly in the pub games, not necessarily something too crazy, but going right into a Heart of Taras. A lot of health from this, but you got to look at this dire side, and it's physical damage. The lack of armor is a big problem.
And normally, Necro's actually even build on Aquila. It's only like 3.5 armor, but that could have made a big difference there. Maybe he has enough time to get his Ghost Shroud off, into a Death Pulse, into a 20-stick wand. He could have maybe turned that fight around, but too much minus armor, and he ends up getting punished. So I absolutely agree. Maybe something like a plate mate before, or sorry, a plate mail before the Reaver would be a better move.
Well, we'll see IG just, you know, happily settle things down, slow the game down. Baboka suddenly sitting on 1,300 gold. He's actually dreaming about a Blink Dagger now. It's no longer a fantasy. It's realistic, and the rest of IG are going to be pretty happy about the state of this game. They're smoking up. They're looking for another fight. They recognize, we can actually fight and do okay here if we're getting the initiation and the jump on you, particularly on the Necrophos. They've started to maybe ignore the Enchantress a bit more, which has worked out well for them.
Yeah, and that's why he does want to get tanky. It's not a terrible decision to go Heart, just maybe a mistake in that last fight. So if he could have scaled straight into the Heart right away, all the minus armor is not going to matter because the Veil alone is going to cover a lot of that. So he's got to get tanky so all these chain stuns don't just result in his death, because in a lot of the games today, it just seems like an arrow follow-up from a stun for a 4-second stun has been like the way to pick off some of these cores at crucial moments.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if he can tank up, like you say. As for now, Winstrike have kept this top lane pressured out to the tier 3. No one's actually defending it, which is a big sign that IG are on the bottom side of the map. IG gets some deep wards down, take a tier 1 tower, but these wards are probably not going to be all too useful, though, is probably my one criticism of them. At the same time, they're the only place on the map you can move out on, so you may as well drop some wards while you've got them. This game is going to be played kind of more around this top side for Winstrike, and particularly the Roshan pit, which they've yet to actually go for.
Yeah, and at least one of them will give some vision of the shrine area, so if they are split pushing, they might be able to anticipate a counter gank on a hero in that location. And they have access to the small camp and the large camp here, so if somebody doesn't want to be sitting in their base, maybe there's somewhere on the map they can actually collect resources and try to stay competitive.
As for Winstrike, a bit surprised they haven't gone for that Roche. They had that perfect map control. We're taking all the bounty runes. Their lineup does Roche okay thanks to the Untouchable, The DK, I guess, damage-wise doesn't do great, nor does Necro, but they definitely have enough damage and sustain to kill Roche.
They got bounty runes in a minute, so this will be the one that maybe IG feels comfortable coming to defend. Winstrike's certainly playing defensive.
I mean, if they start actually getting bounty runes, that's a good tale of kind of how this game has shifted, such that IG can actually fight a bit better. They're going to smoke up. I believe they did a D-ward there before this smoke, so they feel a bit safer. XXS not going to join his team. He's just going to keep on hitting some newts, trying to work towards that Octarine, which he does have enough money for, so could look to buy out and pick that one up now if he's not too afraid of dying, which, from what we've seen, has been pretty good.
It is amazing how fast items come out on this hero. I thought he was so far away from Octarine, and all of a sudden one big team fight win in 5 minutes of farming, it's completely different. In fact, double bounty runes now. Like, imagine if Winstrike just lost those 2 heroes and they just retained map control and just kept getting bounty runes for another 5 to 10 minutes. Game would be completely different, but now they're back into it.
That's definitely what these bottom wards are good for, is getting these bounty runes. Although I say that they're not getting double, they're only getting 1. Tuss was there. He TP'd to the shrine just to contest it. And the entire Winstrike team, except for Witch Doctor, moved bottom. They recognize, we haven't beamed down bottom in a long time. IG just pushed out bottom tier 1 tower. That is not a safe place to play because they likely have vision. They're farming their tri-camp area a lot. They're going to be ready to contest these bounty runes. We got to bring people.
Yeah, there's a real possibility that Tuss dies for that, but because Alk would have gotten so much, it's absolutely worth it.
Alk mid reveals himself out of the Moonlight Shadow. Winstrike and nearby, but probably don't want to go on the Alchemist first. They know the rest of IG are behind him most likely with the Moonlight Shadow being used. As for IG, not sure you want to fight too aggressively here either. Your Chemical Rage is available, but positioning-wise, Winstrike are in slightly better place here.
Yeah, they definitely weren't going to move there. They saw a fresh sentry on the ground, spotted by one of theirs, and as a result, they know where the enemy team is. They're just going to take the tri-camp for now. Both teams just posturing, not wanting to have to walk up a cliff into a bad fight.
Or are we going to see another move here? The line's being drawn around towards the mid lane. Are they going to smoke for this one? Korea coming out, just has wards on it. As for Winstrike, they're going in for Roshan. Well, this could have definitely happened sooner, but perhaps they were waiting for some of these items to come out to be a little bit safer and also to make sure the Aegis could have a bit higher of an impact. If you have an Aegis around when you're actually ready to break high ground, suddenly you're looking at taking a lane of Rax with Aegis rather than just maintaining map control.
So what do you think about the upcoming team fights? It kind of feels like IG's plan is pretty straightforward. Chain stun into chain stun. Winstrike is get tanky, I guess, but it feels like IG has better initiations between Earthshaker and Alchemist and Tiny. It feels like it'll be easier for them to initiate fights outside of Dragon.
I mean, if they're defending high ground, I think so too, because we saw it a bit with the Secret game. When you have this Tiny defending high ground, you can toss people in and pull them really far out, being able to do those toss backs. So I think even with Aegis, it's going to be quite difficult and tricky for Winstrike.
Yeah.
You can also just kind of ignore this Necro. He's got a heart, he's got an Aegis. Just focus and burst down these other heroes first and take the Necro out last.
I don't know if that's going to be their plan. I mean, with the Aegis, yes, absolutely, it's a little scary, but I mean, if anybody gets too low and they don't have BKB ready, it's going to be a kill, and that's the scary part.
For sure.
If they've got buyback, it's not as big of a deal, but there's not too many right now. Just Mirana and the Earthshaker.
Interesting. Alka's a Lotus Orb queued up. He's just bought the plate mail, so this could definitely change. And I think it's a good call to get some armor, but at the same time, Necro, his damage, and the Enchantress, you're looking at some magic and pure damage coming out as well, which is where this item may not be quite as effective.
What's the plan? I'm guessing you can reflect a cask, you can reflect Reaper's Scythe, you can reflect a snowball. That can be really good if you're in a lot of trouble.
Yep.
Because then you'll get it like a 3-second delayed counter initiation. Dragonite stun, but he's got BKB, so used at the right time could be effective. But
the Lotus Orb Snowball can also work against you. I've seen many a times where a Tusk will be like, "Oh, that guy's Lotus Orb. Let's get him to snowball into me," and it can also turn back the other way. So got to be a little bit careful about that usage.
It's kind of cool that he has an Octarine with it, though. I've never thought about that before. But lower the cooldown, so he's closer to about 50% uptime.
Here come Winstrike. They've smoked into the enemy jungle. Just 4 heroes here. Enchantress actually not a part of this, which is perhaps part of the strategy behind it. You show a hero bottom, you're going to catch IG somewhat by surprise if they're not expecting you to come at them with just 4 heroes.
Probably the least needed hero, I guess.
5-man TP out. From the trees, they
know something's up.
Not
I mean,
messing around.
This is the Radiant side of the map, basically, in the mid and late game. Once you end up getting the enemy tier 1, so if they're not there, they must be somewhere else, and it's definitely safer just to do a full reset coming from your base. That way, you can kind of explore everything in a safer way.
Yeah, because they de-warded their jungle, so they know the vision is limited by Winstrike, but they then move so far out that hey, we've actually no longer control this area.
I just thought that was breadcrumbs, so they knew how to get back to their base. It's just kind of
follow
nice
the sentry wards. They'll take you back in case you get lost. How does this game look for some of these Ag Scepters being pulled? Because that could be where we're headed with Alchemist.
Yeah, I didn't think about Ags either. Let's see, the Earthshaker one has been pretty popularized. We've seen a lot of Anjagses. Tiny does not work. Mirana's is unlikely to be amazing, but could be good. I guess there's some heroes to burst. Everybody's got an okay Ags is my impression. Nothing super stands out. Or maybe
no, like this is going to change the game immediately. But, well, here we go. Winstrike contesting bounty runes. They know this bottom side of the map is where IG will likely be playing. Fissure comes up first. It's Iceberg though with an Aegis. The arrow not going to hit as well, so may just be forced to back off here. Aggressive goes in, and the Ice Shard's block on XXS. He's actually trapped in here. Needs to be careful. Blink! Echo from Baboka! Baboka, you're a madman! He's gone in, taking out the Tusk. Necro is next. Absolutely insane Echo. They need to deal with Silent Heroes. BKB's one off. There's going to be another unstable concurrent being channeled here. The cast bouncing around a little bit. Is it going to be enough here? Iceberg's lost his Aegis. He's going to be careful. Swap out from Q, just throwing away his life to help out XXS. He knows Iceberg's got a Reaper, and he's going to save XXS with that one. They're still chasing. They still want this kill. Blink forward from No Fear. Gets the punch. XXS in a lot of trouble. Has ulti in a few seconds here. Can he get it off? He likely will, but the Necro ulti's there. It's going to take him out. 2 minutes, he's dead. He doesn't have buyback as well. It's a disaster for IG. Potentially, they've taken out a few heroes here. Iceberg still hunting for more. Could get aggressive. Toss away. Is it there? Nope. Not with the snowball from Tusk. And all of a sudden, this game flips on its head.
If he didn't have Aegis, that fight would have been so one-sided for IG with Baboka's Echo Slam there. He was so patient, waiting until there was enough heroes, and he got 3 heroes in that stun.
Oh, Bounty Rune was still there. Baboka picking up a Bounty Rune, just got Alk's buyback back online.
Okay.
May not need to use it anyways. It doesn't look like we're going to see an immediate push, but still, it's like a, there's that thought on your mind where it's like, are they going to push? Have we just lost because we don't have buyback on Alchemist?
And one thing that IG has seemed to shave off their build was a Blink Dagger on Alk, and it kind of cost them that team fight. Here comes the stun. It was a little bit late because he couldn't gap close fast enough. And then as they kind of collapse here, looking, oh, Alk's in trouble. We can definitely get this kill. He jumps in, goes for the 3-man here. If Enchant doesn't have his heal going, I actually think Iceberg dies a little bit early, and maybe even non-Grotto gets bursted.
Yeah, the entire kind of DK BKB duration was also not used all too effectively. Just ended up being a fantastic fight. Tuskspy's back and does manage to make it a little bit more favorable. Here we go. Will they need the Alk buyback though? Back to real time. Winstrike are poking around at the high ground here. Alk is kind of hoping his team can defend without him. He'd love to not have to use this buyback. The Glyph will buy some extra time here.
Might do arrow swap. Nope, just going to throw an arrow to slow it down.
They may... even just consider giving away one lane of racks here if it means not having to buy back. Baboka does have Echo Slam once more. Smoke in his backpack, though, so we're not going to be seeing that one. And it does look like they may just give this one up. Baboka, Invis, Moonlight Shadow, delaying it further with a fissure. Does he go for any kind of a Blink Echo to try and save the melee racks? It seems they're happy to just let it go for now. Here we go. Blink Echo on a 2, followed by a totem. Baboka forces out the BKB from Iceberg. They finish off the melee racks here. Aggressive getting very low. The Reaper is there. Going to immediately buy back as soon as he dies here. They want to turn and fight this one. They throw out the stun. Catches multiple heroes here. Iceberg gets barely away here. They're going to lose the 2 supports. Can they find more? The low cooldown from the Octarine. They're going to catch Iceberg with another stun. He can't get out of this one. His BKB not available. It's not going to be there to save his life. He's dead for 80, and he doesn't have buyback now. What's going on in this game? He's 100 gold short for it, and IG, it costs him a tiny buyback, but that's how you have to play against this Necro ulti. If someone dies, you cannot afford to be dead for that long duration.
And these stuns, again, are just making all the difference. XXS able to gap close and go for the heroes that were important. Landing the stun on the Necro rather than wasting a couple seconds on the supports just proves to work out. So 50 seconds on the map is at least going to give them some tower control, and this is absolutely something that IG needs here. It's going to pump some gold into some of their supports and maybe give them a better opening. But I didn't think that Echo Slam was going to produce much, to be honest. They couldn't do a toss back either because both of those heroes hitting buildings had BKBs. So they made something happen out of not much.
Yeah, it wasn't like that huge damage. It just hit 2 heroes, nothing else, but it was that initiation stun where 2 heroes got chain stunned. The Necro had to just BKB the second it ended, and that meant by the time the Alchemist actually, because he respawned around when he went in, by the time he got into the fight, that BKB on Necro was down, so he could actually get stunned, could actually be dealt with, and IG are going to feel pretty good about that one. They get a couple of towers, they regain some map control. Unfortunately, Roche wasn't available, but...
Here's the initiation once more. Wave of Terror on 3, can't really do a toss back here. The only downside, Baboka did use Fissure here, so he didn't get it in the triple stun when he finally did go in, but they've waited as long as possible. 2 seconds here, right before the respawn on Alk to try to surprise their opponents. Chain stun on the Dragon Knight gets him down to 40%, and Aggressive's going to pay for his life, but he buys back here and instantly gets into the fight.
It's one of those moments, if Alk respawned maybe 2 or 3 seconds faster, they could have saved that melee racks, but they had to wait that long. And it's not really worth an Alk buyback, because if he buys back and he dies to anything in the next 5 minutes, the game is definitely lost. So IG played it about as perfectly as they could. Just unfortunately for them, they didn't have that faster Alk respawn. They're going again. They're looking for another fight here. Smoked up, Baboka leading the way. Tiny's the hero to kind of watch out for. He doesn't have buyback, which means if he gets deleted from the fight, it's all sorts of trouble. Glimmer Cape in, gets a fissure. Echo Slam to follow it up, catches out 2. They've caught Iceberg, but the snowball save is there. Follow-up stuns coming in from the Alchemist. Can he finish off this stun? Reaper is there, aggressive. He's not going to die to this one. XSS has been BKB'd here. The Tiny does end up dying post-Reaper as Tuss dies in the trees to the Radiance damage here. Chase is on. XXS with the low sorb in the front lines. Has a stun in a couple of seconds. Wants to wait for the Ghost Shroud. Can't afford to do so without stunning himself, so he doesn't do any damage, but he's got another stun, and this time there's no Ghost Shroud. XXS, man to dodge of the Dragon Tail is there, but he's lost his Chemical Rage. He can't keep fighting. He's going to keep throwing these stuns as much as possible with the bonus damage from his level 20 talent. He's doing some good damage here, but still, Chemical Rage in a couple of seconds. He's going to be good to go very, very soon. Iceberg in trouble. He's incredibly low. He didn't get the Ghost Shroud off. He's dying to the Radiance damage. He's dead. 80 seconds on the sidelines here. Silent without BKBs in trouble. He's going to get chased down. Another stun. That's like the 5th, 6th. I don't even know. I'm losing count. How many unstable concurrents are there? This Alchemist is just out of control. Absolutely insane performance from XXS, and he's not done. There's a Witch Doctor. Well, the Alk might be done, but the Shaker and Venge, they're not done. They'll get the Witch Doctor.
It is just so hard to do anything about him in these team fights, especially with his BKB and his Manta style. He's using them at the perfect time. He's dodging Dragon Knight stuns. He's constantly preventing the Necro from being able to chase, and that's causing so much disruption because that's their big damage deal on Winstrike's team. They need to keep him on top of everybody, clean up the other support heroes, and then deal with the Alchemist. But with this Lotus Orb that's up like half of the time, more than half of the time actually, they're always ready to reflect Maledicts, or not Maledicts, casks and Dragonite stuns and all that good stuff.
It's just crazy, the uptime of this stun as well. It feels like he throws it out. It's a 5-second like channel time, and it's already back up. It's a 6-second cooldown. And
it stuns for up to 4 seconds here. Now, maybe something they might want on Winstrike is a Lotus Orb of their own, because at least then they would be able to reflect the stun back at Alk, and that would force him to use BKB. And once his BKB is down, then they're at the point where like he doesn't get this like crazy value for 40-second fight. Instead, it's like, okay, after the first 10 seconds of the fight, then the Lotus will be really useful.
chasing once again. They get the initial stun on Nongrata. He's going to try to force himself out of there. Alchemist is going to get himself here with the stun. Lotus Orb put on himself for a bit of extra defensive play. Didn't have the Manta style to try and dodge it. The swap out from Q. He's not messing around here. Has a Glimmer Cape to try and survive this one. Should still die. Damage over time will finish him off. But Boca also dead. Oh dear. A couple of support deaths for the IG side. And Winstrike going to be feeling pretty good about themselves. They head straight for the Roshan pit.
It's a really good grab for those two heroes. And they were trying to get just a free kill, but not able to grab them at nighttime. I think that was part of the issue. Yep. One little Force Staff and a bunch of trees, and Enchantress gets out.
Yeah. They knew they had a ward there, which they were trying to play around. They're like, okay, we've got this vision, let's go fight. But once you have to chase outside of your vision, you kind of lose that advantage of fighting in that area. And puts them in a bit of a tough spot here. And Winstrike, Aegis Cheese coming their way. They've decided to look like they're actually scary and kind of scaling in a way that they can right-click and deal with this Alchemist. They've got multiple MKBs, the Dragonite and Enchantress. Enchantress particularly we've seen just be a great damage dealer, being able to sit on the outskirts of a fight, just throw constantly the impetuses.
She's a little bit of an in-your-face fighter, though, this time, because she hasn't been able to finish an Aghanim Scepter, so she's kind of like the range of a typical ranged hero. And as many stuns as there are, it feels like they can deal with her. Like, throw a stun, land an arrow, and then maybe go for like a BKB leap right-click, because her personal survivability is actually not that high. She just has magic resistance and some heals. Her armor's not great. She has a BKB queued up, and that's almost kind of like, if you're going to keep getting stung by this out, at some point you do just need a BKB against it. So I like the item choice, but IG ready to go themselves. They may have just claimed an Aegis on the side of Winstrike, but IG are not afraid, and they're going to shrine their way on through. Not sure that was intended. I believe everyone was full health and mana, but it's a shrine for good luck, for good fortune, as they approach the Winstrike side of the map. Once again, trying to fight underneath this ward here. They see Silent. He's not got the Aegis. Blink after the fissure. They get the chain stun perfectly. The blinker from Nofir. He wanted the snowball save, but he's not going to get it. Instead, he's going to go down as well. That's his gem too. I can only imagine here. They get the turn. They change target. They're going for Nongrata further down bottom on the tier 2 tower here. Nongrata gets chain stunned by the Venge as well. The cheese being popped just to keep him alive. But Boca did end up dying there as they continue to chase Nongrata. They're kind of all in on this chase here. The Alch stun will catch up to him. No Hurricane Pike for 5 more seconds with the arrow. This will be an easy kill. Man, that stun does a lot of damage. That was a... He didn't even channel that stun. It just instantly did about 500 damage. Yeah, reduced his armor pretty low with the acid spray, but still, that was a big bit. Considering the initiation, though, I don't think Winstrike is extremely upset with how that fight went. It was a great try there by Tusk to try to jump in and save him. He hesitated at first. Felt like it was maybe not the right move. Yeah. And then as he blinked in, I believe he got hit by some other stun, probably like an Aftershock or an Avalanche or something, and he wasn't able to buy him the time to press a BKB. So. Yeah, he got insta-stun without the snowball, and that unfortunately meant DK did. Even if he caught the DK may have still gone down with just how low he was. Yeah. But we'll see the bounty runes now getting picked up, a couple apiece, 2 for each side. So that Alchemist money rolling in, and that first Ag Scepter coming soon. We'll take another look here as the initial initiation from Baboka was good. It was the Echo Slam catching him, the third of Earthshaker's stuns, and maybe that's why Iceberg actually hesitated, because he knew that Echo was likely coming. So he's like, okay, I got to wait till after the Echo to go for the save, but couldn't quite do it. And then this big chase as they went looking for Enchantress down bottom. Baboka, he committed everything. He was in deep. He didn't have a blink. He didn't have any spells, so no surprise that he goes down there. But he didn't get Reaper Scythe. He did get, they did ulti him, but he used his Glimmer prior to going in. He also is carrying a hood. He's got stupid amounts of magic resistance right now, knowing what he's up against. But he did get picked off. But either way, it was a good play for him after they initiate on the Dragonite, because he knows that there's going to be allies to the left. He moves to the left, spots the Tusk, and he's the reason why that fight went at least as one side as it did against the Dragonite. So it was still a very good play. But the game is very even. 41 minutes in, less than 1K gold advantage for Invictus Gaming here. And the Ags are going to probably make a difference. The first ones come out, it's actually on Q's Venge. I would not have called the 5 position getting it. It's probably one of the better of the 3. Maybe comparable to Shakers. I'd say Mirana's is the worst, at least slightly. Yeah, because I mean, there's still a big threat of Alchemist dying first. If he gets initiated on instantly, doesn't get his BKB or Manta off, they can chain stun him and kill him. And if Venge can sit, like, what is this, 1200 range behind him, she can swap every 10 seconds. And even if she dies, then she'll get a little spirit that can also do swaps and stuns and waves of terror. So it's pretty incredible with the 10-second cooldown. That's definitely something to be worried about. So in the meantime, just hit more creeps. But Alk is 6-slotted. I'd maybe call it a bit of a soft 6-slot. It's not the best offensively, but...
Yeah. Is that a worry that Alk is not going to get too much scare? I mean, I guess he could theoretically if he went for like some serious right-click items, but...
Yeah, I don't know if there's a good substitute. I think the Lotus Orb is the right choice. He needs Octarine, he needs BKB this game. I think he's all in here.
I think it's okay that he goes this more tanky AoE constant. He's basically playing around his stun. He's spamming the stun, and the idea is that Mirana and Tiny will be the scaling damage dealers, which works pretty well if they maybe had a tiny bit more farm. Mirana seems okay. Tiny does feel a little bit behind.
Yeah, it's just Echo Saber, Blink, BKB going for an AC, which will definitely make everybody more tanky and make his stuns do more damage. I think that part's kind of good. Mirana's historically, she can pump a lot of gold into each of our item slots, though, because she's finishing expensive items. Mjolnir's BKB, not so much, but she'll get butterflies late game, stuff like that. Did they find him?
Oh, aggressive. Completely caught out here. Necro's here as well. This is going to be a Reaper kill at this rate. He's got no buyback. He needs help. Where's the Q Venge? It's not here to save his life.
Yeah, aggressive in here.
Yep, hoping for a blink dagger. They don't get the Reaper, though. Bit of a mistake. Perhaps he doesn't have Ag Scepter, so maybe they can go push now and they'll still have Reaper.
Yeah, this is the right move. I mean, it's 120 seconds if you use this without Ags. It's just very important for another hero to be used, so completely fine.
That was odd that he was there. Aggressive. Not sure what was on his mind, that his team were just nowhere in the vicinity. He's just perhaps thinking it's a safe part of the map.
Maybe he's waiting to buy his plate mail or something.
Sure.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Not sure, though.
Top lane being pushed out by the Alku's, just about to hit that level 25. See what talent he gets, whether he goes for the regen or the base attack time. Given his build, we probably could just see the regen come out.
Yeah, I mean, his damage is not very high. I expect it'll be the regen. There is a Solar Crest and a Spirit Vessel on the Tusk, so they do have solutions to try to keep Alk's HP low, but he's also got the same thing. He's got Lotus Orb for Dispel, he's got Manta for Dispel, he's got BKB for Dispel. He's actually, this Lotus Orb, I'm a little surprised we don't see it more often. Like, looking at how valuable it is this game compared to something like a Shiva's.
Yeah.
It's like 5 less armor, and you get less utility, but, I mean, the being able to remove a Spirit Vessel is everything when you're playing Alk.
Yep. And it's, such a low cooldown because of the Octarine that he just has such high uptime on the item, and things looking pretty fine for him. The question is, can this Tiny continue to find some good farm? Even if he commits to an AC, he's not going to have buyback at that point. Not that he had buyback then anyways, but Mirana definitely a carry you can kind of rely on. Not mostly because, you know, it's not going to get kited. It does have that range factor. Bounty runes are coming. Bottom lane, IG want these, and Winstrike aren't here with their whole team. They do have a shrine they can TP to. They're going to go on Iceberg here. They're completely invis up Iceberg. He's going to get initiated on Fissure into stun. There's going to be... Oh, he blinked into the Echo once again. It's Deja Vu. They both got buyback here, but Tusk couldn't find the snowball save.
I mean, what he did was very admirable. He blinks in, he ate the arrow. I thought that would be enough, because at least then he would get stunned, Necro gets BKB off, or he tried to blink in and cast Snowball. Either way, it would have covered him. But, man, these timings, there's so many stuns that as soon as they catch a core hero like that they want to kill, they throw everything. They don't hesitate, and they don't wait to see if there's been a mistake. They just, everybody throws stuns.
Playing Tusk, you know, if it was just a Mirana arrow and you're saving that guy, no, that's straightforward. He's arrowed, nothing to worry about. When you're against the AoE stuns of the Shaker, the Avalanche is particularly bad because it still lingers. So he's already thrown it. You can't blink in until it completely disappears. As we'll see the first buyback come out, swap out from XXS, making sure he stays alive. They don't want to buy back the Necro, but they may have to as well. Q going to throw away his first life. He sells the Accept, immediately loses it though, which is where the support
they could kill.
Not looking too hot. XXS in a lot of trouble here. He's dead for 100 seconds. Necro even bought back. Aggressive. He needs to BKB TP, but his TP was in his backpack. He's also being reaped. He's dead. He's dead for 85. Does have buyback. Non-Grata getting the kill, so he didn't actually die to the Reaper. Once again, the Reaper kill just not quite connecting.
This game just been turning around like crazy. 2 dead heroes, they go to push, and then all of a sudden a couple pretty big mistakes from IG there, leading to just a cascade. Venge had to sacrifice himself, and then it was Alk stunning himself accidentally, and then it's just, boom, 3 dead heroes, buybacks. At least Alk doesn't have to, but...
Yeah, well, not yet. He may still need to if they want to try and force it. We'll see if that's the case. Silence ulti has worn off, though, which is maybe partly why they're not going for this one. Roshan, the next objective, respawning in 20 seconds. They had the courier there for now. They're going to keep it there, because they scout that right away. They should be able to get a free Roshan, given that Alchemist will be dead for about 30 seconds post-Roche respawn.
This is clearly the hero they want at frontline, though. It's Dragon Knight. Like, if he's the one that's getting chain stunned, he's got way more regen than Necrophos does. He just pops BKB, and he turns on his ulti, and he just Scotty slows everybody. Yeah. And it's really hard, actually, for IG to defend against that. Because even if they pop BKBs, they're getting slowed, they're taking splash damage, and nobody wants to hit that guy.
Feels like from the IG side, they just have a lot more kind of reliable damage shields with the Enchantress, even the, like Witch Doctor, Maledict, Death Ward, whereas the Dire side is kind of just... We're not really seeing that impact from aggressive in these team fights, but having to go in as a melee hero, and with just BKB, Blink, Echo Saber, he's got a Hyperstorm, he hasn't even completed his AC. Even when he finishes it, he's not going to have that like Daedalus-esque item. It just feels like he's limited on his damage output, and it's just Alk with Mirana to right-click people. Shaker, you know, Echo Slam is decent, but that's a long cooldown. And
all these guys are really tanky anyways, so trying to focus on a burst hero like Earthshaker to try to kill everybody, it's just not going to happen at this stage.
Well, so. Aegis G's refresher. Where did that refresher end up?
I'm not really sure. I think
it's on the DK.
Yeah, it's probably for a BKB and ulti refresh. Especially if he gets killed and buys back would be a good example for when you'd want the refresher shard. But
Necro is also definitely good with the long cooldown of Reaper, 120-second cooldown. Although for now he's got a Arcane Rune, so we'll see if they can get that first Reaper off during that for the lower cooldown.
He's queuing up a Shiva's Guard, actually. It's already got an AC, lots of armor, and they're ready to go high ground. So Silence in the front with the DD. Going to hit some buildings, but there's a lot of Invis heroes on the enemy side. We'll see if they do a toss back. This would be a good opportunity for it, maybe.
Aggressive just blinks in to hit some creeps here. They do get the Fissure on a Silence, who's going to continue hitting this tower. Lotus Soul will bounce back that stun. He does Manta Dodge it. The initiation not immediately coming out here. They stun up Silent once again. They're going to swap him in nice and deep here. Silent, he's got BKB. Will he get it off with the Snowball help? He should be okay. He gets the BKB off. He's trying to fight. He's healing with the Satanic here. XXS can be forced back. Non-Grata charging forward as well in the Enchantress. Needs to be a little bit careful about how he plays his fight. Another swap coming in. 10-second cooldown. Silent, he's brought back. No BKB this time as Baboka forced to preemptively echo just to keep him alive, as this first Reaper doesn't actually effectively kill off Q. Aggressive goes down on the Tiny with a buyback. They're now losing no fear. His Tusk going to snowball, buy it some additional time. Non-Grata on the front lanes with the Impetus doing some good damage here, but just doesn't seem like enough. 2 gems on the ground as they go chasing forward. They want Non-Grata. He gets swapped back again. These swaps just constantly catching heroes out of position. They don't feel like they are. Always want to fly. Arrow, Venge Stun both miss as the Alk Sun goes flying across the map. Oh, it's gone.
Her previous death was not so good, but that one was very effective. And the way they set that up was just the old swap into arrow.
It's coming.
Here it comes. Can't disjoint that one, guys. So they just go for they shoot the arrow from super far away, and then they swap them into it. Therefore, the stun hits instantly, and it hypothetically lets them kill that hero, but not Dragon Knight. This guy's tanky.
Yep.
He's also got Satanic, so 4,200 HP on this guy.
Nice thing is, you know, they can do that swap in multiple times quickly because of the low cooldown. Otherwise, they probably would have lost that fight because DK easily survived with the Satanic on his first life. It was the second swap when he didn't have BKB, and the Earthshaker solo echo on the DK. It's fine from Baboka. He was dying. He didn't really have any other good opportunities to use the Echo Slam, so worth it in the end as here goes IG, breaching the high ground, bringing out another Aghanim Scepter is the Alchemist. I'm not sure if he'll get a chance to pull it over. Iceberg getting chain stunned here on the front lines here. They want to try and bring him down. He's got Aegis as well as BKB, so they don't want to commit too much for this one. XXS has BKB. He's going to pop it, as does Iceberg on the front lines here. Iceberg, no Reaper for 20 seconds. XXS getting very low.
He might die to Maledict here. I think he's dead. They timed that so well.
He actually pops as SRF. Needs to be careful as well. He gets stunned by the DK. They had the ward. They bring him down. That's going to potentially force multiple carry buybacks. They get a melee Rax, but that does not feel worth it when you're 51 minutes in a tense game. Trading a buyback for a melee Rax, ooh, that is a tough one.
They played it so well. Witch Doctor has skilled the Maledict tick talent tree, which means that the Maledict last explosion is going to be extended an extra 4 seconds. This skill lasts for 16 seconds. You cannot BKB this. It's not going to work because they still have decent right-click between the Necro and the attack speed and the AC and the Death Ward and the Dragon Knight and the Impetus. If they Maledict the Alchemist, he actually has to leave the fight.
And that was the last tick, right? That killed him.
Yes, it was really close. The BKB ended like 2 seconds before the final tick.
Such high impact coming from that support talent at level 20 as IG will not try and defend their range tracks at mid, but they do need to perhaps defend this top lane. Echo Slam into the arrow here. They go in on Silent. He's been Glimmer caped up. That's going to reduce some of this damage. He doesn't get a chance to BKB. There's no snowball save. He's dead for 100. Does that buyback to swap back in on No Fear. He needs a snowball target. Will get it out on SRF, but I'm not sure that's going to save his life. Goes to the creep wave to back off a little bit. They're kind of ignoring him. They're going for the bigger fish here.
He can blink now.
And No Fear does blink. There's still a Fissure to chase him down. It's back at mid, though, where they're chasing the bigger kills. Non-Grata, BKBs, turns and fight. Q just hugging him as close as possible. He says, come here, give me a kiss. Non-Grata doesn't want any of this, though. He's in full retreat here. The unstable concoction with the arrow is going to catch him out in the end. As Tusk survives, but they find Enchantress instead.
I think that's okay. I mean, she's still got buyback. She's relatively farmed, and they save... No, they didn't even save a gem.
They may have to buy back on somebody, though, if IG go push.
But that was still 2 buybacks on IG's side.
Yeah, I don't know if IG want to push without not having his buyback. He finally gets a chance to pull that Ag Scepter. He bought it quite a while ago, but, you know, it's hard to, you know, do your little item juggle, take him out of the backpack, put him back in, and when you're in the middle of pushing high ground, that's not really on your mind. So he gets Shaker, his Ag Scepter.
This is a really good one to have. He's going to be able to jump in and out of the fights a bit more. Not have to rely necessarily on Echo Slam to do, or a Blink Dagger to initiate.
Yep. They're going for it. They're going to push high ground. They need to make sure they don't get punished for this, because the buybacks, if they kill Alk, this is one of those kind of game over-ish moments. They killed the Shrine, so no TP to the Shrine backstab possible, or if they're trying to retreat, there's no danger of that.
Minimum, they got to force buybacks on the enemy team. That's what they're going to do here.
And if they see buybacks, they need to try and get out, I imagine. We'll see if they can make this happen. Aggressive with the tree grab is doing a lot of building damage. The second they see the Ench buyback, they're backing off. Aggressive on the front lines. What are you doing? He gets Reaper, does get the BKB off. That'll keep him alive. The Ags swap is there. The chase is on. The Fissure going to buy some time, as does the arrow. The 4-staff on forward. No Fear was trying so hard to pick someone off, but IG have scattered to the winds. First TP out from Q. Didn't have mana for a swap at that point anyways, and he's going to hope and pray that his team can get out without him. As for Winstrike, unfortunately for them, they don't get those pickoffs that they were really hoping to with their buybacks.
Gods, is it just me or is Necro, is Tiny broken against Necro? Because he ultied him, he gets swapped out, and before the scythe hits him, he pops BKB because of status resistance. Because it takes a second and a half for the scythe to hit. It only stuns him for 0.75, so as long as he gets another, as long as he's not chain stunned, with
That's
another
what happened
stun,
up top.
he just BKBs.
Yeah, I remember the top fight where he got reaped, and I thought he was going to die to it, and he didn't. I was like, oh, I guess he BKB'd before, but no, that is a crazy mechanic.
That's crazy. Yeah, really good advantage there, and allows Tiny to be, in some ways, the frontline tank.
Here's a replay of that top fight where they brought down the Dragon Knight. That's one of those moments. The only way out there is if Tusk is there to give him that snowball save, and
as you saw, Silent's APM dipped a little bit in that fight because he couldn't do anything for about 8 seconds. Might see a fight here.
Go back to real-time. Moonlight Shadow's being used. IG right next to the Enchantress. That would have been a big kill. He didn't have buyback. Maybe. I don't think they did see him, or they would go for him, I got to imagine.
The Wildling spotted him. The Wild Wing Ripper, that is.
Oh, it spotted IG?
Yeah, spotted him going invis. Like, he was very close by, but his Wild Wing was kind of scouting a little bit ahead of him, so ended up spotting at least something. And no engagement.
This feels like these teams are playing for their tournament lives, but in the best of 3. This is just game 1. Both teams laying everything on the table here. Non-Grata in the front lines here. Aggressive scouting him as No Fear goes charging in. BKB from the Tiny. They're going to try and blow up the Tusk. They don't succeed in doing so. He got the snowball off to buy some time. Alchemist in the front lines needs to be careful. Pops his BKB with his chemical rates. Throws the stun. Doesn't quite finish off with the tree throw. Will they take out the Tusk? In goes the Mirana with the BKB. They right-click down the Necrophos. Dead for 100 seconds. Immediate buyback coming out. XXS on the front line. Needs to be careful. The Impetus. The Rainbow Throws are chasing him away. Non-Grata once more. Tiny even buying back for this one.
Oh, so close.
There's nowhere for the Necro to TP to. He didn't have money for boots to travel, nor did No Fear. So they're stuck with just 3 heroes down bottom on the Winstrike side. But IG, they're so low, they can't fight. Baboka's like, let's get out of here.
That was so close. Alk lived with 36 HP on that last Maledict tick. But he played the fight great. As soon as the Maledict hits him, he starts juking around trees in a big way and staying alive. The refresher shot on Dragon Knight, making sure that Winstrike could win that team fight, was able to pop BKB again when being focused. But still, costly buyback on the other side, and now the next team fight is huge. Whichever team loses that one is probably going to be the loser of the game.
Yeah, so there are 3 buybacks currently available. Dragon Knight, Venge, and Witch Doctor. 2 of those 3 support heroes. Some coming back up soon. Shaker's up in 40 seconds. Here we go. Mid lane, Baboka charging forward once A fissure initiation, going to totem on after. There's going to be a Tiny there as well. The DK on the high ground in a good position to focus down aggressive here. Alchemist going to turn, try and go an Iceberg here. Changes target to the Dragonite, who's been stunned up by a long duration stun here. Silent in all sorts of trouble. He does have buyback though if he needs it. Alchemist, he's been delayed from the game. Dead for 150 seconds with the Reaper kill. SRF, full retreat. Doesn't have any leap charges left, but where's the detection? They can't see him. There's a sentry mid that will spot him out. He's dead for 2 minutes now. And you mentioned this next fight. It's Winstrike, who are playing to win, and they have taken down 2 big IG heroes who cannot buy back.
The initiation went on the Witch Doctor first, and that's a good hero to grab, but that was one of the few heroes that did have buyback. They were scared about Maledict, and it just didn't matter. Him dying just eventually produced Winstrike working down the Alchemist, and even with the Lotus Orb, as soon as the BKB ended, and it was only 5 seconds, they snagged the Reaper kill.
Yeah.
And from there, it's just cleanup.
They didn't have the Echo Slam for that fight, which really cost them as well. And Winstrike, they thought about going for the top lane, but I think they realized Alk has no buyback. Mirana nor doesn't either. 2 minutes, those are on cooldown for, so if they've been keeping tabs, they know this is a 5v3 push. And it's all up to Baboka with the Echo Slam. He's got to find a way to get this kill. He bought a casual Kaya for this last defense. Aggressive there as well with the Crystallis. Goes in, trying to force out some spells here. Gets tossed up in the air by the Lotus Orb, in fact, here. They're just going to right-click down the throne. Blink, Echo Slam, Baboka. Can he finish anyone off? Impetus there is going to just immediately delete him. He buys back, but he's got no second Echo Slam. That's the only way he could defend this one. He knows it's over. Throne going down. Winstrike have taken game 1.
Boy, was that a close game, but Winstrike's got to breathe a sigh of relief with the massive dominance they had leading up to about the 20-minute mark, and then just that huge team fight that IG pulled to actually equal the game up. And from there, it was definitely a careful